Hey guys, my name is Tensor. Welcome to another Flutter tutorial video. In today's video, we will be cleaning up our Utopian Rocks application by adding some aesthetic changes to the app. As it is currently, we have our list view here, and as you can see, it's fairly plain and fairly basic. The drawer has some theming to it, but there are some elements that can be cleaned up. Also, when we click the button here, if we click download, it does absolutely nothing, and we want to change that, of course. And we want to make it so that if we click on one of these tiles, it will actually send us to the contribution. Over on the Utopian Rocks website, we can take a look at what we generally want our app to look like. So each tile is going to have a little avatar on the far left. Then it will have the name of the contribution. Then underneath we'll have the actual repository and then a fuzzy timestamp. And then on the far right we'll have an icon for the category. In the case of our application, I'm going to be using a special font to get the actual icons and put them into our application. So I've created a folder here called Assets, and inside of it I've created a folder called Fonts, and then I've put in the special font called utopicons.ttf. Most of you who have worked with Android before are probably used to using SVG files. You can easily take some SVG files and compile them into a font format because Flutter doesn't handle SVG that well currently, though I know that support for SVG is something that is being added to the framework as we speak. For now, using fonts is a pretty easy way of bringing in static icons. For this part of our application, we want to bring in two new dependencies. One is called TimeAgo, and this is the library that we're going to use to create our fuzzy timestamps. And then the other one is called URL Launcher, and this will allow us to launch various different URL types, which will then launch intents to the Android layer. So for instance, if we launched a URL that looked like a phone number, then Android would know that we want to use a phone application, and it would prompt the user to open up a phone application in a menu. In our case, we're just going to be using web URLs. Also, while we're in our PubSpec YAML, let's add our font. Down below everything, I'm just going to add fonts, and then the family name, which is Utopicons, and then the actual font file by pointing this asset field to assets fonts utopicons.ttf. Let's go ahead and start to work on the aesthetic first, and then we'll add in all the other elements after. So we'll go inside of the listpage.dart file, and we want to change the format of our list tiles. So first let's take the function and turn it into a multi-line function so that we can wrap the list tile inside of a gesture detector. Now the gesture detector will allow us to double click on the tile and then launch the URL, and that is the main reason why we want to wrap this entire list tile inside of one. Now first let's start with the actual Gravatar, or the circular avatar that we want to add to the left side of our tile. So we'll add a field called leading to the list tile, and inside of it we'll put in the circular avatar. Inside of that we'll have a container, and then we can decorate the container with a box decoration to specify that we want it to be a circle. And then inside of that we can have a decoration image which has a network image inside of it. And we'll use box fit fill so that we fill the entire circle with this image. To actually get the avatars from Steemit, we can use the CDN called steemitimages.com. And then we can pass in snapshot data, index, and then the author, and then go and grab the actual avatar. And now as you can see, we have the circular avatars associated with each one of our contributions. Now just in case we don't get an avatar for the user, for whatever reason, say it's not stored on steemitimages.com, we want to add a fallback background color. So we'll just give the background colors white, so that if there's no image, it'll just display a white circle in that space. Now we already have the title field set up, but let's add some text style to this title field. So we'll add a style element, and for that we just need to add a text style to this text widget. The font size that I'll put in here is 16 pixels, and then I'll give it a font weight of W600. And then I want to align the text to the left of our tile. Rather than being center aligned, the titles are a little bit darker and they're sort of pushed to the left a little bit. To finish setting up this tile, let's add a subtitle field, and in this subtitle we'll have the repository and then the timestamp. But for now, let's just have an empty string because we want to be able to generate these two items using functions, which we can move into a utilities file. We want the text for these two items to be relatively small compared to the title text, so we'll give it a font size of 12, and we'll keep the font weight the same. And then finally, we want our category icon, which we can just fill in with an empty icon for now. If we go back to our application, you can see we now have some space between each of the tiles, and this is where our repo and timestamp will go. And then we have some space on the far right where our icons will go. Now let's go ahead and create that utils.dart file I was talking about. For this file, we want to bring in our timeago library, and we want to alias it as timeago because there are some conflicts which will happen between it and the material library up here. We also want to bring in our URL launcher library as well as our models. In here, I'm going to set up a list which will house all of the categories that each of the contributions can be of, with the all category being any contribution. Now, based on the font, I'm going to set up a list of icons, and these icons are the development names followed by the code points inside of the font, and these are in ASCII format. Here's what the actual font looks like, and you can see that the icons that we want have replaced uppercase A all the way up to uppercase P. So we just want to take each of these icon code points from uppercase A all the way up to uppercase P and then attach them to their corresponding category. So for instance, this little school cap corresponds with the tutorials category, and so the code point will be 0x004b, which corresponds with this font symbol in this font type. Now we can create a function called getIcon, which will use the asynchronous snapshot which we get from our stream builder, and then the integer, which is the index, which we get from the actual list view builder, to get the category key, which is the string of the category that's attached to the contribution. We can pass it into the map, and that will give us back the code point. Now we can go back into our list page component and import the utils file, and then we can get the icon code using our getIcon function, passing in the snapshot and the index. And then down where we have our icon defined, we can just pass that icon code to the icon data structure. As you can see, now we have all of these capital letters next to our contributions, and that's because we're not specifying that we want to use the Utopicon's font family. We can change this, of course, by setting up the font family for our icon data. And also, we just want to make sure that we have the appropriate icons. So if the function doesn't come back with an icon code, and if this comes back as null, then we'll just put in an empty icon code. So now you can see inside of our application, we have all of the icon codes showing up next to each of the contributions appropriately. Now let's create a function which will set up the repository for us to display on our contribution. All we really want to do with this is check to see if there is a repository, because not all contributions have one. And if there is no repository, then we'll just pass back a string that says no repository. But if there is one, then we'll just pass back that repository. And again, this also takes in the async snapshot as well as the index, like our getIcon function does. And like with our icon code, we can set up the repository string by calling the check repo function with the snapshot and index inside of it. And then down in the subtitle, we can put the repo into it using string interpolation. And I'm going to put a little dash after it because we're going to put the timestamp after this as well. And as you can see here, now we have the repositories appearing below all of our titles. In the case of this top post, we have this no repository string showing up. Now let's set up a function which will allow us to create our fuzzy timestamps and display them in our application. So in here we want to pass in the snapshot, the index, and then the page name, because we're going to differentiate these based on the page that they're associated with. And currently all we're going to do is make the ones in the unreviewed page show a timestamp from when they've been created, and then we'll have the other ones show a timestamp from when they've been reviewed. And all we're really doing here is using the timeago library to format the timestamp by taking the timestamp from our snapshot and then using datetime_parse to parse it. So with the top one, we're using this created timestamp, and then with the bottom one, we're using the review date timestamp. And we're passing them through the datetime_parse and then the timeago format function. And again, like we did with our repository and with our icon code, we can just call to the convert timestamp function, pass in the snapshot, index, and then the page name, and then get that into a variable called timestamp. And then we can add it to our subtitle down here. So we have the repository, and then we have a dash, and then the timestamp. And so each of our tiles now has the repository, followed by a little fuzzy timestamp, which tells us when the post was created. And if we go to waiting on upvote, we have the repository followed by when the post was reviewed. And this also uses a fuzzy timestamp. Now I'm sure some of you guys noticed that this particular contribution has a little timestamp that seems a little off. It says it was reviewed 49 years ago. Obviously that's not correct. I took a look at the actual timestamp that was coming through the API, and it is incorrect for some reason. So we don't really need to worry about it too much. And in any case, we're going to be changing the timestamp for this page so that we can determine when these contributions will be voted on, and we'll talk about those when we get to that portion of our application. Now the last aesthetic thing that we want to add to our list view is color for each of our icons. So each of the categories has its own color, and I went through and I collected the color hexadecimal values for each of our icons, and I put them in here next to the categories like we did with our icons. Again, this is just a map, and then we'll have a function called getCategoryColor, which works just like the getIcon function, where it takes in the async snapshot and then the index, and then it goes and it passes in the category name and then gets out the color. And again, we can come back into our list view file and then call getCategoryColor, put it into a variable, and then down where we have our icon widget, we can open up the color field and then pass in the category color. And now you can see that all of our icons have a color attached to them, which is pretty cool. Now there is one more thing that we want to modify about our icon, and that is the default icon code as well as the default category color. So if we get back a null icon code, we'll pass back this icon code, which is this utopian symbol, and that's because one of the categories I did not actually add to our list, and this was sort of deliberate because that category is mainly for moderators and people who are working within the company. So if we get back null, then that means that category is not in our map, and it should be this color and use this icon. So we'll use this icon code, and then we'll use this color here. And actually this icon is the icon that we're using for the all category as well, because this is the utopian icon. So it's the actual main icon for the company. Now before we finish today, let's add a function which will allow us to launch the URL for our list view when the user actually double clicks on a contribution. And of course this will open up a browser which is inside of their Android device. And we can do this by checking to see if we can actually launch the URL by using this can_launch function. So the can_launch function comes from the URL launcher library. We just take the URL as a string, pass it into the can_launch function. We want to await on this value because it passes back a future boolean. And if it comes back as true, then we can launch the URL. So we just take the URL and we pass it into this launch function. Otherwise, we just print out that we could not launch the URL, and then we just exit the function itself. So now that we have this function, we can just come back into our gesture detector here, which is wrapping around each of our list tiles, and then add a double tap feature to it, where it just executes this little callback function, which calls to launch URL, passes in the snapshot data index, and then the URL of the contribution. So now if we go ahead and double click on one of our contributions, you can see that it just launches a WebView browser, which will take us to the actual contribution itself. And if this device had multiple browsers, then it would pop up a little menu and then ask me which browser I wanted to use. We can also add this functionality to the button inside of our drawer. So just where we have the flat button to download the new version of the application, we can just add the onPressed event and just call launch URL releases HTML URL. And now when I click check for update, it will open up, and then when I click download, it will open the browser and I can come in here and download the new APK. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the box below. And if you disliked the video, then by all means downvote it as much as you like. Have a good night.